Have you ever taken a simple pill, only to find out it could quietly damage your memory and raise your risk of dementia? What's shocking is, these aren't rare prescriptions. They're everyday medications millions of seniors take without knowing the hidden cost. They're the pills you've seen 1,000 times, maybe even swallowed this morning. So ordinary, so trusted, you'd never suspect they could quietly be stealing your memories, one day at a time. If you're over 60, what you're about to hear could change the course of your life. Because the greatest threat to your brain might not be aging itself. It might be hiding in plain sight, inside your own medicine cabinet. In the next few minutes, you'll discover 4 everyday pills that neurologists warn can speed up memory loss and raise your risk of dementia. This isn't hype. This is backed by hard research and years of clinical experience. And if you listen until the very end, you'll know exactly what to watch out for and how to have the right conversation with your doctor so you can protect your mind, your memories, and your independence for years to come. They sit in medicine cabinets, nightstands, purses, and glove compartments across the country. Little orange bottles, white caps, neat labels typed in calm, clinical font. Millions reach for them every day without a second thought. But for some people, especially if you're over 60, those pills may be quietly rewiring the brain you depend on for every memory, every decision, every piece of who you are. This is not fear-mongering. This is about reality, backed by medical research that's been quietly circulating in the clinical world for years. The kind of research that doesn't make headlines, but does make neurologists pause when they see the prescription list of an older patient. And yet, for all we know now, these pills are still given out every single day. Sometimes for good reason, sometimes simply out of habit. If you've noticed your memory feeling a little less sharp lately, or you're caring for someone whose mental clarity seems to fade more than it used to, this conversation might be one of the most important you'll hear this year, because we're not just talking about which drugs to avoid. We're talking about the link between common medications and cognitive decline. And once you understand the connection, you'll never look at your pill bottles the same way again. The first group hides in plain sight. They're called anticholinergics. You'll find them in allergy pills like diphenhydramine. Yes, that's Benadryl, in bladder control medications like oxybutynin, and even in certain antidepressants like paroxetine. Their job? To block acetylcholine, a chemical messenger your brain uses for memory, learning, and muscle control. Now here's the problem. Blocking acetylcholine might calm your allergies or ease your bladder urgency, but your brain depends on it, like a city depends on its power grid. When that signal is interrupted over and over, it's like dimming the lights in your brain's memory centers. The University of Washington conducted a massive long-term study and found that people with the highest cumulative exposure to anticholinergics had a significantly higher risk of developing dementia. Not after years and years, sometimes in as little as 3. And we're not talking about rare exotic drugs here. These are pills people have been taking every single night to help them sleep or stop sneezing. The cruel twist? Many of these medications are available over the counter, which makes them seem harmless. You don't need a prescription for a box of diphenhydramine capsules. You don't need your doctor's permission to buy that bladder control medication advertised on late-night TV. But in the brain of someone over 60, the effects can stack like bricks. One here for allergies, one there for sleep, another tucked into a daily pill box for mood. Before you know it, acetylcholine is in short supply, and the brain begins to stumble. Imagine your grandmother's memory as a strong rope, every strand woven tight. Anticholinergics snip those strands one by one, not in a way you notice after a single dose, but in a way that becomes tragically obvious after years of safe use. And the worst part, many people are never told there are safer alternatives. Doctors may not connect the dots between your prescription list and your foggy mornings or forgotten appointments. The medicine might fix one problem while slowly building another. But anticholinergics are only the first shadow in this story. The second comes wrapped in the promise of calm: benzodiazepines. You might know them by their names: diazepam Valium, lorazepam etivong, alprazolam, Xanax clonazepam, Klonopam designed for anxiety, insomnia, and seizures. These drugs slow the brain's activity. They can quiet the storm inside your head when panic strikes or when sleep feels impossible. Yet over time they can also slow something else, your mind itself. Harvard researchers have pointed out that long-term benzodiazepine use is linked to memory problems, confusion, and an increased risk of dementia. Some studies even suggest a dose-response relationship. The higher the exposure, the greater the cognitive cost. Benzodiazepines work by enhancing the effect of gamma-aminobutyric acid, GABA, your brain's main inhibitory neurotransmitter. Think of GABA as the handbrake on a speeding car. Benzodiazepines pull that brake hard, quieting anxiety but also dampening memory formation. In younger brains, the effects might fade once the drug is stopped, but in older brains, the damage can linger, like a fog that refuses to lift. It's not uncommon to see someone prescribed a benzodiazepine decades ago for short-term stress, and never taken off it. What began as a safety net turns into a cage. And for seniors, this is more than just about memory loss. It's about falls, hospitalizations, and losing the independence they've fought to protect. One misstep, one moment of confusion, and life changes forever. But then there's another category that looks harmless, even gentle, the sleep aids. Drugs like zolpidem and Bégaud, asimclone lunesta, zalplone sonata, they're called Z drugs, and are marketed as safer than benzodiazepines. And in some ways they are, at least in the short term. But here's the secret buried in the fine print. The brain doesn't care what marketing says. A study published in the British Medical Journal found that Z drugs are linked to an increased risk of falls, fractures, and cognitive impairment in older adults. They may not be benzodiazepines in chemical structure, but their effect on GABA receptors means they carry a similar shadow: slowed brain processing, impaired memory formation, and next-day grogginess that feels like jet lag without the trip. These drugs are often prescribed casually. You're not sleeping, let's try Ambien for a bit. But a bit turns into months, then years. And just like benzodiazepines, stopping them abruptly can be brutal. Rebound insomnia, anxiety, even hallucinations. So people stay on them. And all the while, the brain adapts to their presence like a river carving a deeper and deeper channel. And then comes the fourth, and perhaps most quietly destructive group: opioids. We know them for their pain-killing power. Oxycodone, hydrocodone, morphine, fentanyl. They're given after surgeries, for injuries, for chronic pain that grinds down daily life. But alongside the relief they bring, opioids have a way of muting not just pain, but also cognition. Opioids flood the brain's reward system, drowning out normal signaling. They can slow reaction times, cloud memory, and in some cases, trigger confusion so severe, it's mistaken for dementia itself. Research from the Mayo Clinic has shown that older adults on long-term opioid therapy face higher risks of cognitive decline and delirium. And for those already battling early memory problems, opioids can push them over the edge. The danger isn't just in the drug itself, it's in the combination. Picture this: an older adult on an anticholinergic for bladder control, a benzodiazepine for sleep, a Z drug for breakthrough insomnia, and an opioid for arthritis pain. Each one chipping away at brain clarity, each one magnifying the side effects of the others. This isn't a rare case. This is happening right now in homes across the world. And so the question becomes, what do you do if you recognize yourself or someone you love in this story? You don't throw away your pills without medical guidance. You don't panic. You take the information and you bring it to your doctor. You ask, is there a safer option? You say, I've read about the link between this drug and memory loss. Can we review my medications? Because here's the truth. Some of these drugs are necessary. Some save lives. But many are prescribed without a long-term exit plan. And the cost, measured in lost memories and independence, is too high to ignore. I'm telling you this not to scare you, but to give you a weapon: knowledge, awareness. Because the system will not protect your brain if you don't. And if you're still here, listening to my voice, then you already understand that silence is the enemy. These conversations die when they're kept private. And that's exactly why I'm asking you, no telling you, to do something right now. Don't just watch this and move on. Drop a comment and say what you think. Have you or someone you love experienced memory changes while on these medications? Share it. Not for me, for the person scrolling the comments who's about to start one of these drugs and doesn't know what's at stake. Share this video, because you might be the only warning someone gets before their mind starts to slip away piece by piece. And subscribe, because this channel will not stop pulling back the curtain on the truths that could save your life, or the life of someone you care about. You think it's just a pill. You think it's just for now. But in the quiet, in the shadows, these drugs can rewrite who you are. And by the time you notice, it might be too late. Don't stay silent. Act now.